Fort King George this week. It's home to the icons of Tobago Museum as well as the Tobago Historical Museum. Now, I have an interesting lineup of stories to share with you this week, so I invite you to stay tuned. I'm Patricia Nicholson-Richards, and this is Let's Talk Tobago. This week, we have highlights of the recently held Rainbow Cup. A Tobago Police Youth Club takes us on a beekeeping adventure, and a lone Tobagonian shares his preparation for the 2023 International Special Olympics. Weather conditions were ideal for this year's Rainbow Cup triathlon, which saw scores of athletes participating in Blackrock. Our production crew was there, and we have the highlights. Check them out.
Swim, ride, run. The Rainbow Cup triathlon has returned to Turtle Beach.
I'm very happy that there was so much interest in the event. So many people, even though last year was a struggle, and we said we didn't have adequate sponsorship, and we just said, we're going to downsize last year. We just have to have this event to let people know that we're back. But because of that event, a lot more people started training for this year's event, and I'm really happy that we did that. I'm very happy that there was so much interest in the event. So many people, even though last year was a struggle, and we said we didn't have adequate sponsorship, and we just said, we're going to downsize last year. We just have to have this event to let people know that we're back.
The swim was perfect. I planned that out properly. On the ride, on every hill, I got a knee injury. So on every hill, that rail hurt me, people pass my back. And so I know on the run, I have to do what I have to do, catch them back on the run. So it was a fantastic race. I really enjoyed it.
The swim, we were all slightly in a pack. We were all kind of around each other because we all swim relatively close together. But once we got on the ride and the run, everyone's strengths and weaknesses started to kind of show and play out. The ride definitely starts to take a toll on your legs, so that by the time you run, you're cramping, the sun is beating, and it becomes a mental game. And it's just who can put out the best at that point.
More than likely, the race is going to be the second week in June next year. So you start looking out for that. You can get more information about the event by going to rainbowcuptobago.com.
It's been a great day here at Turtle Beach. I mean, the sea just set so nicely this morning with a wonderful atmosphere. It's definitely been a great day for the Rainbow Cup. The second time since we're coming back out of COVID, and you've seen all the races. You see how many teams have been competing. It's wonderful. It's absolutely a beautiful atmosphere down here at Turtle Beach. And what can I say? We could only look forward to better things in the future. So from Kevin and myself, Ryan McCool, you've been watching Let's Talk Tobago, and it's back to you, Pat.
Beekeeping might not be everyone's cup of tea, and it certainly isn't for the faint of heart. In this next story, we'll tell you about the Mount St. George Police Youth Club's initiative, or should we say adventure? Listen up.
The Mount St. George Police Youth Club is doing their part in an effort to continue on their quest, ensuring that the youth within their community will become well-rounded, all-faceted citizens. This time, they were introduced to the art of beekeeping.
The Police Youth Club organization is all about getting youth involved in positive activities. Beekeeping is one of these activities. What we would have done, for the past 4 months, the youth were trained in the art of beekeeping. It's a collaboration with the UNDP, and we would have utilized our local trainer, Mr. Gladstone Solomon. It's all about training the youth, teaching the youth. Teaching the youth about environmental stewardship, getting them to learn about the preservation and the conservation of pollinators, letting them learn about the promoting biodiversity. It has teaching them about an entrepreneurial option. It's a form of income generation. Beekeeping is a form of income generation as well. And it also has the educational value to it, where teaching youth the art of beekeeping, teaching them the impact of honeybees in the world. And also, it's just about positive youth engagement as well, guiding them along, a good career path, a good option, and all about personal growth, teaching them new things. Beekeeping also has the value-added products, and these products includes things like, candles. You can make candles from the wax. You could also make lip balm. You could make soaps, and even body butter. Hair products. A lot of products can be made from the wax, and the youth didn't only learn about producing honey. They learned also how to make the value-added products, and by so doing, it's a form of teaching them how to generate income for themselves and adding positively to the economy of Tobago.
Beekeeping is only one of the many activities that the Youth Club has embarked on for the year and is set to have continuous activities throughout the year. I'm Crystal George for Let's Talk Tobago.
When you think of a true volunteer, who comes to mind? Well, for us, we have to give that title to Tess Mohammed, a seamstress with decades of knowledge who loves sharing it with others. Here's the story.
Tess Mohammed has been in the garment construction industry for over 50 years. Her roles ranged from professional seamstress to garment construction educator at various levels, as well as external verifier with the National Training Agency for CVQ in schools. Since November last year, Miss Mohammed hosted a free sewing class for interested persons in Mount St. George. And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to her community volunteerism efforts.
I grew up with this. Ever since I know myself, I did voluntary work for the YMCA, for the Salvation Army, adult classes, in the library in Roxborough, teaching the students in August, little sewing aids and all that. So I've been doing this all the time. It feels good to give back. I had 15 high-energy women. They were soaking up everything I taught them like a sponge. And in class, they would, even if I go with the basic, they would say, oh gosh, miss, how you cut this and how you cut that and how to do this. And they always do the questions. And I'm thinking in my mind, it's just a basic course. You didn't reach that level yet, so kind of cool it. But then before you know it, they go home and they do research until they go on YouTube and they come back with the finished product. So I don't give myself that credit. They were so interested. They were soaking up everything like a sponge. And that made me feel motivated as a tutor. This is the beginning of things now. Once I have good health, I will spread this to other villages. Because I realize that with the economy as it is, we need to, women especially, even housewives, they need to empower themselves with a skill. If they're not doing it commercially, at least they could do it for their families and it would be a big thing, a big saving. As I said, I'm semi-retired because I'm still doing school uniforms. So I would like to share my knowledge because I think the graveyard is one of the richest places in earth because people die with all their knowledge and skills. A lot of people without sharing it. And I get a lot of joy and fulfillment when I share my knowledge at this time because the people who taught me at John Lee and all, they spend their time to teach me and I should pay it forward.
I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
We'll take a short break right now, but much more Let's Talk when we return. Stay close. Did you know that Tobago's first FM frequency radio station was established 25 years ago? That's right. Tambourine Radio 92.7 FM was established on June 8, 1998, and since then has been pioneering the way as Awi Radio. Here's more.
25 years, Silver Jubilee, congratulations.
Wake Up Tobago family, extended program this morning. No problem, no problem. We jamming, we pumping all day, we celebrating. So it's really a dream come true, and I must thank the manager and of course the brilliant ideas behind this station for giving us the opportunity, the voice, the platform to express ourselves and to showcase our talent. And I must say kudos to George and his wife Carol and to the entire management and staff. You know, it's been a pleasure working with them for the past 25 years. I do what I love. I enjoy doing it every single day, coming out, putting my feelings behind and try to make others feel happy.
I gotta say thanks to everyone who've been listening and keep on listening, and we're gonna try to do our great job, you know. We'll see how it is with it.
25 years is a long time, and Radio Tambourine will be that institution that it is, you know. That conversation between George and Carol Leacup, the management of Radio Tambourine, is one that gave Tobagonian the opportunity to grow. And you know, every step of the way, every move that I make in the station, I was supported by the management and staff of Radio Tambourine. I'm grateful for that. And one of the things that, you know, outstanding in Radio Tambourine is that togetherness. The management, the approach of the management, some people not seem to understand it. But when your whole life is based on something that you built from ground, you need to protect it.
I feel very good, and being a part of it, I mean, that it's phenomenal. 25 years, and I have been in the engine room. Mr. Leacock has been the face. That's the reason why. I'm the voice.
That's your bad choice in terms of the face part of it, right?
They gave me the hardest job to do, which is actually to keep Tambourine afloat. So, you know, by the end of the day, with his support, we've been able to do it.
Thanks for the support over the 25 years, and we're still here. We're still getting up earlier in the morning that we like to get up to come and do it, and so that must mean we're enjoying it.
In this next story, we'll tell you how this lone Tobagonian prepared for his trip to Germany to participate in the International Special Olympics 2023.
To go out and do his best were the words that both DeAndre's mother Vanessa and coach Stefan about the Special Olympians' trip to compete. While in Germany, he will be taking part in the mini javelin and long jump events. And this is how he prepared for the task ahead.
The training has been for approximately 3 months, 2 days per week. The training has been progressing well. At first he may have a little hiccups in terms of learning these basic skill sets of javelin, but then eventually he got through to them, and now he's doing pretty well and he's ready for the games to the best of my ability, I believe so.
All I ask is that he does his very best. If he gets a goal out of his very best, I'm very happy with that.
Excited to be competing, a confident DeAndre wants to say thank you to a few people.
I thank my family, my friends, myself, and my coaches, everybody that's fought with me. Thank you.
I'm Crystal George for Let's Talk Tobago.
The Commonwealth Youth Games is just weeks away, and Ryan McCool tells us all we need to know to get involved. Here's more.
So we just saw the completion of a wonderful Rainbow Cup triathlon. It's returned to Tobago, and the athletes they gave their all. So we're here at the Commonwealth booth because the triathlon is one of the major events taking place in Tobago in August for the Commonwealth Youth Games Trinbago 2023.
Tobago 2023, less than 2 months, 5 weeks to go. it's all happening, and today we are very glad to be here to showcase the booth. Everybody learning about the Commonwealth as well as Tobago 2023 Youth Games, ages 14 to 18. And while we are here at Turtle Beach, we can see just beyond Black Rock as well, where volleyball is going to take place, as well as we know that the venue for triathlon will be Buku.
This morning we are here to promote Destination Tobago because, as you know, some of the Commonwealth Games will be taking place in Tobago. So we are partnered with the Commonwealth team, and we are just here promoting Tobago and reminding them that Tobago is part of sports tourism.
Sensitizing young people that sport is an option, and to make more inspire and empower them to also volunteer. Volunteering is still open, so please go to Tobago 2023 on the website, fill out the form, come and volunteer, learn something about, meet new people, and be part of this games. Because this games is 71 countries from all over the world. We have lots of people to engage with, lots of things to learn, and we're just waiting for you to come be a sport ambassador as part of the whole game.
It's all about Tobago 2023, and if you see how people have been enjoying today's triathlon, you could only look forward to greater, bigger and better things in August when we have the Commonwealth Youth Games taking place. So remember, if you haven't volunteered as yet, you still have some time. So go on the Facebook page, go on the website, as the president of the TTOC said, and register, become a volunteer, right? It's all about the Commonwealth Youth Games. You don't want to miss this one.
And that's a wrap. We've come to the end of yet another episode of Let's Talk Tobago. For more of our content, you can follow us on our social media platforms. You can also visit our website at www.tha.gov.tt. I'm Patricia Nicholson-Richards, and on behalf of all of us at the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly, thank you so much for viewing, and see you soon.
You're watching Let's Talk Tobago.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your life can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers. We're just at about 7 a.m. this morning, and welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, and connecting via Tobago Updates television. Good morning to each and every one of you as we continue to give God thanks for life. I am Julian Skeet.
And I am Rhea Richardson George, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning to Tobago. Good morning, Trinidad. Those of you viewing in the Caribbean and those of you viewing on the live. Yes, it's a beautiful day.
Good morning.
Julian Skeet is back with us. Julian, welcome back.
It's a kind of feel-good moment, being back at home. As you know, I would have been out of the country for just a bit, treating with some business and so on. And I really want to thank viewers for that continued love and support. They miss you for one day, and they make sure to do those kind of the checking in. So I really want to thank each and every one of you for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show. And in particular, let me send some kudos and commendations going out. In the midst of business, it was hard to keep up here, but I did see in the mix Marcus, Daniel, and Adana Combi, and thank you so much in terms of joining in the mix here on the Tobago Updates morning show. Rhea, how have you been?
It's been an interesting week. It's been a very interesting week. A lot happening in politics, a lot happening here, even at Tobago Updates. We've moved from Tobago Updates morning show. We are now Tobago Updates television.
Yes.
And quite an extensive program lineup for the entire week. So you missed a lot of things, but certainly you'll be able to catch up and we'll be able to flow. Particularly, we've got to mention here, Julian, that we've got the motorcade on today that is heading east, but we give them some more information a little bit later on.
All right, excellent, viewers. All right, at this point, we're prepared to head on over to news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Julian and Rhea. I am Candice Jackson, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Friday, 23rd June, 2023. Brought to you by Coconut Cafe, located on the ground floor of the Port Mall. The THA budget statement for the upcoming fiscal year 2023 to 2024 would be read on Monday. Chief Secretary Falia Augustin announced the budget date while making a statement in the House yesterday. Debate on the budget is scheduled for next Thursday and Friday. According to the THA Act, the budget must be read and passed in the House before the end of June. Last year, Augustin, who is also the Secretary of Finance, Trade and the Economy, requested $3.97 billion. However, the central government allocated $2.5 billion to the THA, a shortfall of $1.7 billion. At yesterday's sit-in, the Secretary of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation, Tasha Burris, revealed that some service providers were still owed monies for Carnival held in February 2023. However, she noted that $7.6 million was paid and that the division is working assiduously to ensure balances are cleared in the shortest possible time. In response, Morris condemned the THA for delaying the payments and suggested that persons' livelihoods are at stake. However, Boris countered, saying the delay was as a result of late central government releases to the THA. And finally, political leader of the Tobago Council of the PNM, Ansel Dennis, described orders sanctioned by the THA as suspicious. Speaking at a PNM political meeting in Charlottesville last night, Dennis criticized the Chief Secretary, Falia Augustin, for failing to reveal the contents of the audit. Yesterday in the House, Augustin stated he will not hand over the financial audits to the Prime Minister or the minority leader. Instead, he stated it would be given to the appropriate authorities for action. And that was in news in 90 seconds, brought to you by Coconut Cafe. Coconut Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Viewers, and welcome back as we head on in this morning. We're heading on into our birthday celebrations, and the birthday shoutouts is sponsored by KFC.
This is your birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
On screen this morning, a very special birthday shout out, and that's going out to my grandmother out there, Ursula Skeet out there in Buku, commonly and fondly known as Granny Eula. This is where she's giving the hand saying no photos. I had to search far and wide. Far and wide. She's not into photographs, but certainly want to wish you, all the love and coming from the entire family, Lavien, my dad, your son, all your children, everybody, Granny, we're wishing you a happy birthday and God's continued blessings as you continue to climb to those heights. As you would see, she's still in that age range where she calls other persons older than her in her age group old people. All right, so wishing you a happy birthday, Granny Eula.
Happy birthday going on to you, Granny Eula. Indeed, very special lady. And that's just about it.
All right.
Birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
The only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
Thank you, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. And on our rundown this morning, we're going to have coming up in the lineup this morning, George Leacock, chairman of the THA Task Force, as we speak Trinbago 2023. Yes, folks, we'll be chatting about the Commonwealth Youth Games 2023.
And we continue the discussion this morning, chatting with Apostle Anne-Marie Alman, Apostle of the People of Destiny Kingdom Center. And it's all about impact your season of Jubilee, or impact your season of Jubilee. I think that's it.
Yeah. Yes. Good morning, folks. And I'm here this morning talking sports, and I'm really happy. The management decided to bring on sports on a Friday here on the Tobago Updates television. And of course, to start the program today, we have two very important guests. We have Kelton Thomas, a former Tobago Sportsman of the Year. He's going to be talking about his Tobago Strongest Man competition. And then we're going to also have a former national footballer, Macan Hislop. He's going to be talking about the launch of the Tobago Football League. So yeah, stay tuned for Sporting Fridays with Marcus Daniel.
That's Mr. Sport himself. Good morning to you there, Marcus.
That's right. Good morning.
All right, viewers, so you have it there, giving you a clear idea what you can look forward to on today's show. And let me take this opportunity as well, where I can't forget the importance of our sponsors. This morning, I am wearing Euphoric Designs, handmade by Darian. And I want to say thank you so much, Euphoric Designs. And of course, just as I touched down in at the airport, as they would say, straight to the barber shop. My barber, Classic Cuts by Aquilon. Cuts by Aquilon. Very important that we've got to remember our sponsors in the mix, making things happen. And remember, you can always make that determination to come on board, come on the lineup for the Tobago Updates television.
That's right. And to Phyllis Grant this morning, we say thank you so much for the hair. We say as well to Hair Sanctuary, good morning. And Just My Size, we've got them lined up. We've really got them lined up. And we say thank you to all our sponsors this morning. As well, Julian, we've got coming up this weekend, in fact, today, we've got the east leg of the motorcade, which is all a part of the launch of the Tobago Updates television. And I want to give our viewers this morning an idea this morning of where we are heading. All right, so they're going to be starting from 2:30 today. At the Port Mall, Scarborough, where they're going to make a block around Scarborough, then take the North Side Road to Rockville at Government House Road. They're going to stop at Bill Brown's car park for a bit and onto Concordia, journeying all the way to Mason Hall. They're going to make a few stops along the way at Dalmore Junction. They're going to play some games, give out some of the Tobago Updates television paraphernalia. We've got some, all right, and they're going to return via Sandy River, journeying through the village and then on their way to Calder Hall. passing by the Chief Sec office, on reaching the highway, they're going to take a left heading east. Stop at John Dial, the usual stop in Hope, and then further on into Mount St. George. They're going to make a stop at Pablo Supermarket in Roxborough, and then they're going to head on over to Pirates Boatyard. Now you're going to hear I'm just going to be music, truck and the whole story. Then we're going to see Candace. You're going to see Candace on Rumble
Marcus, I don't know about you, but I'm hearing music truck. I'm hearing the launch of Tobago Updates, and I'm just thinking Tobago Updates promo deals. So you can look out for Ria on the truck, Candace on the truck, Kaylee on the truck, Adana on the truck, you name it. What do you think about that, Marcus?
Yeah, and you know, just in the news in 90 seconds, I could have heard the enjoyment in Candace's voice when she mentioned that they're going to be on the launch today. Last week was a really good time, and of course, Tobago, look out for that. Look out for that. You don't want to miss out the goodies that we're going to be giving out this afternoon. It's all about Tobago Updates Television. Yeah.
Excellent. So you never know who you're going to see on that truck, folks. There's a taste of everything for you. Look out for Tobago Updates Television launch. We're going to be on the road. But at this point, we head on over to Tobago in Focus.
Mediation is used as an alternative to litigation through the use of an impartial moderator and communication and negotiation techniques. The Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection established its mediation unit in 2009 and has steadily expanded. The unit, equipped with 2 certified mediators, has since settled several matters, including landlord and tenant issues, merchant-customer disputes, property and land, parenting, and even issues regarding the running of traditional susus. Assistant Coordinator at the Mediation Unit, Carol Spencer Edwards, further explains.
We deal with family and relationship disputes, neighborhood conflicts, community disputes, juvenile conflicts. So the range of issues are there, and as I said, we try to offer persons that option as against going to the court.
Ms. Spencer Edwards revealed a high success rate between 70 and 75%, noting that a large part of the unit's success lies with the process, as persons are allowed to speak freely in a safe and comfortable environment.
Quite often the issues that they deal with or that they're dealing with is not out of the ballpark. It's just that maybe sometimes not able to sit and express themselves. And sometimes you need somebody there to say, here's what, let's start with, or hold up, give her a minute, or hold up, give him a minute. You know.
The recent addition of a therapeutic counseling unit, manned by 8 counselors, has further expanded services, including a crisis hotline, parenting workshop, grief counseling, life skill coaching, marriage counseling, and learning enrichment programs. Services can be accessed through its walk-in services or by referral.
Dear valued members, the TWCU Credit Union Cooperative Society Limited 73rd Annual General Meeting Tobago Updates will take place on Sunday, 25th of June 2023, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Grafton Beach Resort, Tobago. All members are invited to attend. Please remember to register. Thank you.
Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates. Real questions and honest conversations with the sole aim of keeping you fully in the know. Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. More, live more.
Right now, Tobagonians are just currying down to Bonaccord, right in Stobie Local Road. You know why? To come down and shop at Authentic Builders General Hardware, the only hardware store in Tobago that is giving you guys Trinidad prices. So for instance, such as steel, 1/2 inch and 5/8, $7,895. 5/8 construction ply for $260. Every single thing that you will need to do your home renovation or start your new construction, we have it right here. And to get your quotation, it's very easy. Just WhatsApp us at 272-1990 and we will do your free WhatsApp quotation for you.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning.
Viewers, welcome back this morning. It is the Tobago Updates morning show. We are chatting at this time with Apostle Anne-Marie Alman of the People of Destiny Kingdom Center. And this morning it's all about their conference, their Impact Conference, and the theme is Your Season of Jubilee. Good morning and welcome to you, Apostle.
Good morning. It's so good to be here. Thank you.
Always a pleasure having you on set. I think this is probably one of the first times that we're chatting here at Tobago Updates, is it?
First time.
First time. All right, but it's good. It won't be the last, for sure. Tell us about this Impact Concert before we get into the theme and the speakers. Why Impact?
Impact is a God idea, yes, that came to me, I'm telling you, in probably 2002 or 3 or somewhere thereabouts.
Right.
Yes. And at our branch church, or base church rather, in Brooklyn, we started having these Impact conferences since then. And Impact is an acronym for It's My Prophetic Alignment Conference Time. So the time where we gather, every 2 years we would have it so that we can come in and be prophetically aligned to what God was saying in that moment for that season. So that's what Impact is all about.
Now, I've never been to the conference, but I've certainly been to the church in Brooklyn. I think there was a brunch, a Saturday morning brunch that you had there, and it was a time of prayer for the women, and it was a beautiful experience. I just needed to put that out there.
Oh,
all right?
Thank God.
Yes. Now, talk about, is this a women's conference? Is it an anyone conference? Is it a time for just anyone can come to receive, or is it specialized just to the women?
It's not a women's conference. It is a conference for the body of Christ, and by extension, Tobago, Trinidad, Panama, St. Lucia, anybody and everybody can come to this conference. Because the whole idea is, because we are prophetic people, yes, is to really echo what God is saying, so that persons can hear it and make the necessary adjustments so that they are in tune and in line with what God is saying. So the conference is everybody's for, from the Prime Minister goes all the way down. It's for pastors, bishops, everybody, anybody can and should attend this conference.
Well, there's a full lineup here of speakers for this conference. Tell us about the speakers and how were they selected?
Well, one of the ways we are careful to do ministry is through relationships.
And I love how you said that. One of the ways that you're careful to do ministry, because this is not just a talk shop.
That's right.
It's about ministry.
That's right.
Right.
Yes. So we are very, very careful with the persons that come to speak to our people. This is how we operate with our local churches. And for the conference, same thought, idea, right? So every single person on this schedule are people, these are people we know, these are people we have relationship with. Dr. Shadrach Ofuswari has been to Tobago several times. He has been at our conferences here in Tobago. He has been at churches in Trinidad, etc. Yes, and so we know him well. The people would remember him as well. So he is here. Apostle Vivian Duncan. Everyone in Trinidad and Tobago knows Apostle Vivian Duncan. Yes, and so he is on the schedule. Bishop Allen, everyone in Tobago knows Bishop Allen, or should know Bishop Allen.
Yes.
Powerful man of God. Yeah. Apostle Val has been here already. She's a spiritual son of mine. Apostle Jillian Selquich from Trinidad, of course, she's Tobagonian. Shaki London, Tobagonian, who lives in Trinidad. Powerful lineup. And of course, our special guests or music ministers, Blessed Messenger, Tobagonian, and Positive Tobagonian. So we're rocking
I
the
love
house.
how that sounded.
Yes.
All right. No, like I said, I've quite an interesting lineup. How do you plan on and who speaks on what night? Because I know some persons you want persons to come on every night, but there's some speakers that have got to be there for this one. How do you split the speakers over the few nights?
Well, I have not even done that bit as yet. I'm supposed to get it done. Who's going to speak what night? But we generally, that information would be for the speakers.
Okay.
It would be up to them to share that information with their people. Or, we know that Positive and Blessed Messenger, they're going to be ministering on the Saturday night because that's a prophetic night. So they will come in, they'll minister, and then we'll start flowing, ministering to people prophetically. It's going to be different, and special. Right? But as to which speakers will speak at what night, I haven't got to that part as yet.
Now, Apostle, I want you to express to our viewers this morning the purpose of the prophetic in the body. It's not. I think there was an era when the prophetic was not a part. Unfortunately, the prophetic was not a mainstay or a part of the ministry or the service. Now we see a shift where a lot of ministries, we hear more about the prophetic now, and I'm talking about within the last 5, maybe 10 years, where we're moving into the prophetic. What is the importance of the prophetic to the body of Christ?
Right. Well, in 1 Corinthians chapter 14, and the entire chapter deals with the prophetic within the body of Christ, and the main purpose of the prophetic is to edify the body, to encourage the body, and to strengthen the body. Yes? And therefore, without the prophetic ministry, you end up with a lot of wranglings, a lot of people, speaking against each other, and we're not building up each other, we're not strengthening each other, we more try to break each other down. So the prophetic ministry is an absolutely necessary ministry in the body of Christ, and we do not operate without it.
I say amen to that. Tell us what nights the conferences, what nights are you on for the conference?
The conference starts on Thursday, which is next Thursday, June 29th at 7:30 p.m. Then we have day sessions on Friday, day sessions on Saturday, and of course Sunday morning it's church. But we are there at the Shore Park Cultural Complex on Thursday night, Friday night, 7:30. Saturday evening we start at 6:30, and the Sunday evening we end at 6 p.m. or we start the service at 6 p.m. on Sunday evening.
And how can persons register?
Persons can go to our website, www.peopleofdestiny.org, or they can call 631-5209 or 684-6049 to register.
Is there a cost attached?
There's no cost. Registration is absolutely free.
All right.
Absolutely free.
All right, so we're inviting all of Tobago,
everybody.
Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, wherever you're viewing from.
Yes, everybody. Anybody can come.
All
yes.
right. Thank you so much for being on the program with us this morning, Apostle Anne-Marie Allman, and its impact, your season of Jubilee. All right? Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Viewers, we've got lots more coming up this morning on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. So remember, it's your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Are you looking for a place for your loved ones? Heavenly Care welcomes you. Located at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors, we offer a variety of services. These include doctor visitations, social activities, geriatric care, and much more. Contact us at 277-9595 or visit us at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors. At Heavenly Care, compassion is at the heart of all care.
Jimmy's Holiday Resorts has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, fully self-contained apartments located at the heart of Crown Point. Minutes walk to the popular beaches, restaurants, bars, and the airport. Enjoy our amazing amenities such as fully equipped apartments, complete with Wi-Fi, AC, TV, and a pool, and a mini-mart on the compound. Call 639-8292 or 8929. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts is your family's home away from home.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival Fever. Okay, passage and come on over.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. We're just at about 7:25 a.m. this morning. And coming up in this segment, we should have online with us, and we're looking forward to George Leacock in his capacity as chairman of the THA Task Force for Trinbago 2023, as we speak to updates on the Commonwealth Youth Games 2023. Good morning to you, Mr. George Leacock.
Good morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you. And as we get started, I know you're a gentleman that wears several hats, but today we're talking Commonwealth Youth Games. So I want you to start firstly in terms of giving us a synopsis with regards to the Commonwealth Youth Games 2023, specific to the Tobago leg of the Games.
I really don't wear hats at all, eh? Just thought I'd point that out. All right, so 71 nations will visit Trinidad and Tobago for the Games. We expect 5,000 people to be involved, more than 1,000 athletes. They are between 14 and 18 years old participated in the Games. There are 5 village hotels, 6 days of sports, 7 disciplines, 8 different venues. And 4 out of those 8 venues will be in Tobago. It's the 7th time that the Commonwealth Youth Games are being held, and it is being held in Trinidad and Tobago. The government of Trinidad and Tobago signed on to do the Games. They made an overall commitment on behalf of the state, and the Tobago House of Assembly has embraced that commitment. The Tobago House of Assembly is prepared in the first instance to get all the venues ready, and getting the venues ready, I'm talking about in terms of repairs, maintenance, and all those little issues, maybe that you should be doing all the time, but everybody spruces up for Christmas, everybody spruces up when Games come along. So there's some issues being dealt with. In addition, there is, of course, the need to retrofit some things at Shaw Park to make them sport friendly. There is the need to do some refurbishing of the football field at Shaw Park as well. And the reason for that is a rugby field is 100 meters long. Yes. And if you look at any of the other football fields in Tobago, none of them have that length. Shaw Park has that length. The village of Buku and the Buku, I don't know why they call it a multi-purpose complex. To tell you the truth, I would simply call it the goat racing venue. And people seem to like that very much. It has been the most talked about thing with our Commonwealth Games visitors. the whole thing about goat racing and who wants to come back to see goat racing and all of that. I don't know why we try to pretend, but it is the goat racing venue will be sort of the hub of activity for the triathlon event. So you're going to be swimming in the Buku Sea, and you're going to be running the streets of Buku, maybe as far as Mount Elvin and biking as far as the police station on Chevron Road. But all the changeovers. So when you finish swimming, you're going to run into the complex, and that's going to be the point where your bike would be parked up. You jump on your bike, you ride from there, and then when you get back with the bike, you drop back off your bike back at that point. So it's called the changeover, and you go off running. And the finish of the race, you'll be running down the track in a real sense, just like the goats.
All right. So I know you noted triathlon that takes place in Buku and the entire run. Tell us about the other disciplines that will happen here on the island, and
So
remind
the
us
last-
again when is this targeted for?
The fourth facility is the Black Rock Multipurpose Complex. And at that facility, which is being developed by the Tobago House of Assembly, there would be 2 volleyball courts and a practice volleyball court where games would be held in beach volleyball. Let me say something a little overall about the games, right? The games are intended to improve the sporting disciplines that we do have taking place in Tobago, improve how those disciplines are presented and that kind of stuff. So in the first place, we kind of get the party elements of all these games. Fast 5 netball will be played at the Shaw Park Complex, and Fast 5 netball, very quick game, different to the regular netball. There are additional markings on the court for 2-point shots and 3-point shots that come into play in the last few moments of the game and all that kind of stuff. And it's very exciting. So unlike where you'd have like a netball game scheduled for tonight and one scheduled for tomorrow night, in fact, when the teams come to the venue, they could be playing more than one game in a day. In fact, they will be playing more than one game in a day. Similarly with rugby, it's 7-a-side rugby. While it's played on the full-size field, it's 7 minutes a half, and again, it's going to go by very quickly. Triathlon, it's a super sprint triathlon. And super sprint means that it is half of a half triathlon. The top athletes, we are told, should be in and out of the water in an hour thereabouts, maybe just a little bit more than that. And when you get to the volleyball, again, as opposed to conventional volleyball, it's 2-a-side beach volleyball that would be played on the sand in Black Rock. So it is intended to be exciting, it is intended to excite, and hopefully post-games, we see a lot of activity in these sporting disciplines to continue in Tobago.
All right. Mr. Leacock, very quickly, tell us as well, we are told that there would have been a call for volunteers because, of course, a game of this magnitude, it's probably not ever possible whether the organizing committee or the THA to be able to pay everyone for their services. And we're told that as is common in these games, there's a call for volunteers. Tell us about the new deadline and the areas that you're looking for that support from in relation to volunteers.
Well, I don't want to talk about a specific deadline. I tell you what, there are a number of capacities in which people could volunteer. But if you are going to volunteer in any capacity that requires you to be in direct contact with athletes in the games, I'd want to suggest that you have to be registered before the end of the month. Because these are it's something that we need to get used to in Trinidad and Tobago, because it's a new normal for junior games around the world. And that's the principle of safeguarding. And essentially, safeguarding is intended to ensure that no athlete is placed in any situation where they are under any kind of pressure from any adult or anybody else. And no way of talking around it, sexual harassment of athletes or anything of this sort would not be tolerated. And the principle is that you're going to be dealt with by the state. so that there is training that must take place for all individuals. It includes the staff at the hotels where individuals would stay. It includes all of the persons who will interact directly with athletes. So in order to get your safeguarding training done, right, you must be registered. After that, people will break out into different areas. Who is going to be in charge of hospitality, who is going to be in charge of, or who's going to be working in areas like hospitality, ushers, media liaison officers, and all that kind of stuff. The training for that is ongoing and will probably continue right up to just before the games. But to get your safeguarding training done, this is the time to get registered.
Mr. Leacock, as we look at your closing comments, contact information, persons who are interested in volunteering, just as you mentioned there, who can they reach out to, or which organization to be able to do the necessary follow-up?
The Commonwealth Youth Games, there's a website and it's called, well, once you type in Trinidad and Tobago Commonwealth Games 2023, the games are actually called Trinbago 2023 or Commonwealth Youth Games 2023. That would put you in the direction of eventually on that website, you will find the registration space. More than that, the Secretariat is now open at Shaw Park, and persons can come to the Secretariat, in particular on Saturday mornings, but really most days of the week is how I want to put it, because sometimes there are a lot of meetings going on for team leads in the various sectors and that kind of stuff. But the place to be is actually at the Shaw Park Complex. The Shaw Park Complex will be game central for the games. All of the official offices and things for all the disciplines other than netball, which will be played at Shaw Park, will also be at the Shaw Park Complex.
Right, excellent. Thank you very much there, Mr. George Leacock, giving us some insights in relation to the upcoming Commonwealth Youth Games 2023. And George Leacock currently functioning as the chairman of the THA Task Force as we speak Trinbago 2023. Yes, folks, an excellent opportunity for us here in Trinidad and Tobago, and more specifically, ensuring that some of the games are and will certainly be taking place here in Tobago in collaboration with the Tobago House of Assembly. So we look forward to further updates as we get closer and as the weeks go by in preparation and anticipation of the hosting of the Commonwealth Youth Games 2023 in Trinidad and Tobago. All right, viewers, coming up in our next segment, we have Mr. Kelton Thomas, owner and founder of a KT Bodybuilding Foundation, and we certainly look forward to welcoming him on set as we speak Tobago's Strongest Man competition. All right, viewers, we want to thank you so much for the continued love and support and for choosing the Tobago Updates morning show. And this is your reminder that you have the opportunity now to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Advertise with Tobago Updates. Call 284-6597. If you have a small or large business, we can get your information in front of the masses. Reach our rapidly growing viewership on Facebook and YouTube. Promote your brand in Trinidad and the Caribbean through M&E TV Now and Gayel. Yes, we can build unique ads for your business. Call now 284-6597 and advertise with us.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place.
Yes, welcome back, and of course, viewers, thanks so much for staying with us here on Tobago Updates Television. And of course, this morning, as we mentioned earlier, it's a sporting morning here in the studio. And of course, we're chatting with Kelton Thomas. He's up first on the sets. Of course, we are delighted to be here talking sports. Kelton, good morning and welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Marcus, and good morning to Tobago and the viewers.
Yeah, and Kelton, I deliberately put on this jersey this morning, and I wanted to show one of my biceps coming along, boy. Some dumbbells who are working on.
Right, looking good. You're coming through all right.
That's what I'm talking about. Kelton, we're talking about your second annual bodybuilding, Tobago's Strongest Man competition. I mean, how has preparation been?
Things has been a bit hectic, as you could imagine. Of course, when you want to do an annual event, most of the times you have planning from the year before, and you learn from whatever mistakes you may have made the year before and so on. But most of my team, or one of the key members of my team, which is the secretary of the foundation, took ill and had to go to the US for medical attention, and she's still there. And but Mr. Eugene Phillips and Mr. Kerwin Gregg and myself, you know, we are the old veterans in the business, so we sort of put it together. And yeah, it's been coming well. The athletes have been clamoring for it. And so June month is the month that it took place in last year. And so I decided to bring it back in June. It was supposed to be around my birthday weekend, but unfortunately there was a mix-up between the junior bodybuilding competition in Trinidad. It was scheduled for that weekend, so I pushed it back to this weekend. And it, unfortunately, they got the dates mixed up, and the bodybuilding competition is actually this weekend as well. So I know, and being coach of the national bodybuilding team as well, it put me in a kind of position where I had to choose. But you know, this is our thing in Tobago, so I had to look after this first.
So tell me about this Tobago's Strongest Man competition. You know, what can we expect? Because I'm not going to come to participate, but I come to spectate. So persons who may want to spectate as well. Tell us about the competition.
Well, the competition takes place at the Buku Heritage Park. People think it's actually in Buku, but it's on Golden Grove Road. It's where the Skeets own that, where the
Heritage Park.
That's the Heritage Park, okay. Yes. So it takes place there. We decided to move it from the gym because last year the attendance that we had was overwhelming. It was a bit too much for my gym. You know, my gym is not a big area. And of course, it was free last year. Unfortunately, this year we have to take a little cover charge.
So it's
only $100.
$100.
Yeah. So we have increased it in terms of prize money from last year, and as well as exercises. And we have two formats this year. We're going to have our defending champion, Mr. Joel Duke, which fortunately is a member of my gym. He trains under the foundation gym, and he will be coming to defend his title in the actual Strongest Man competition. That is the powerlifting section.
So how does one become the strongest man? Take me through the different events you have to do to become the strongest man.
Right. So we have, normally for international, we have 3 events, but we're going to 3 exercises, but we put on an extra 2 exercises. So we're going to have 5 exercises. They are as follows: bench press.
Right.
Squats.
And bench press in terms of a particular weight or different reps you have to do?
Well, I'm going to just say that the next format is, I'm going to tell you about that quickly. Right. So for the strongman aspect of it, or the powerlifting aspect of it, you have bench press, not necessarily in this order, but bench press, squats, deadlifts, and you have bicep curl, and you have shoulder press.
So you have to do all of this one after the other, or you have a rest period between each set?
Well, the rest period will come when each athlete takes his turn. You have 3 attempts at each lift, and we're only counting your heaviest lift. And we tally the amount of weights you lift in all 5 exercises, and of course, who has the most weight wins.
Right.
And second place, third place, respectively.
Hey, so and we talk about strongest man. Females involved as well.
Oh yes, we have the female category as well. Last year's champion, Terry Lee. Terry, what's the surname again?
But yeah,
I forgot.
Tobagonian. And this is strictly open to Tobagonians.
Yes, strictly open for Tobagonians. My Trinidad friends who have been calling me and asking to come up and participate. Unfortunately, this is to determine Tobago's strongest man and woman. So it's strictly for Tobagonians. Hopefully last year and next year, God spare our lives, and I get the sponsorship. I might have a separate category for Trinidad and the diaspora.
So in terms of registration, how has that been thus far?
Well, we're having the official registration on Saturday evening at 6:30 p.m. at the Foundation Gym.
That's tomorrow?
Tomorrow. Yeah. So all the athletes who are going to take part, I want you to be at the Foundation Gym for 6:30, where we will take your weight.
So there's a weigh-in as well?
Right, there's a weighing in, because the men category has 3 different, the men section has 3 categories.
So
the women is open.
By age
No,
or?
by weight. We have up to 180 pounds. From 181 to 200 pounds, and then over 200 pounds is another category. So we have 3 weight categories for the men. So because it's a bit disadvantageous if someone at 150 pounds is going to go up against a guy who is 250 pounds.
So do you have an amateur category as well for persons who made us want to come and participate?
Well, we will have a category where we'll ask persons from the audience who think that they can do what these guys are doing to come up and show their stuff. And let me just jump quickly to the other format. The other format is the strength and endurance format. You have 5 exercises as well for men and women, and you have 60 seconds to do as much reps as you can in that 60 seconds. This has never been done in Trinidad and Tobago. And I can just tell you what the weight is for men. The exercise is deadlifts, not in this particular order. Deadlifts, you use 225 pounds for 60 seconds. You have 10 seconds between your deadlift and your next exercise. Let's say it's squat. You have 155 pounds to squat in 60 seconds. And then you have bench press, 135 pounds to squat in 60 seconds. Then you have chin-ups. This is the killer. But you use your own body weight.
That's a pull-up.
Pull-ups, yes.
Right.
Pull-ups, you have 60 seconds to do pull-ups. And then you have barbell curls with only 65 pounds. And then we tally the amount of completed reps at the end. One kick to that is you have to do your qualifying reps first. 10 is your qualifying reps.
So you have to
complete 10 before your reps are counted.
And that's to go on to the next level or the next stage.
Well, the next stage is whatever is counted after 10 is your reps.
Right.
But so 10 is the qualifying. If you fail at 9, then we wouldn't count any reps for you in that set. So it's a little bit tough, even though it's only 5 minutes per athlete.
Right. And so persons may be watching this show for the very first time and hearing about this for the very first time. How can they get involved? Can they call a number or just show up at the gym tomorrow to register?
Yes, you can show up at the gym. It's on Quarters 55 on Golden Grove Road in Canaan. Or you can call me on 305-9080. My name is Kelton Thomas, a.k.a. Bucky.
Yes.
So you guys can call and to get more information or find out the location of the gym. But you can show up there at 6:30 tomorrow.
6:30 p.m.
6:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay. As you know, I'm a Sabbath keeper, so my gym is closed during the Sabbath hours. So when I reopen at about 6:30.
And food and drinks on sale tomorrow as well.
Food and drinks on sale on Sunday. Yeah. It starts at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
So there will be food and drinks galore all day down at the park there. And come and see these competitors, the strong men and women of Tobago. It is going to be a spectacle.
Fantastic. Kelton, we have to leave it here today. I want to wish you all the best on Sunday. Tobago's strongest man competition. If you want to see how many reps I can do in terms of burpees and bicycles, check me out on Sunday. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back with Makan Hislop. And he's going to be talking about Tobago, something called Pro Tobago Youth Football. Share the live, share the live, share the live.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your nice can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place.
Welcome back, and of course, thanks for staying with us here on Tobago Updates Television. We're talking sports this morning, and we just had Kelton Thomas talking about the Tobago Strongest Man competition. And of course, we now have Makan Hislop talking about Tobago Youth Football League. Now, I can't compete with Makan in terms of bicep. I put myself in the corner one time. Makan, good morning, and thanks for being with us this morning.
Morning to you, Marcus, and good morning to all the viewers.
Hey, Makan, Tobago Youth Football League. Tell me about that.
Well, the Tobago Youth Football League is a group of young professionals from Tobago, as well as being local and international. And we have come together to try to develop youth football on the island because we've seen it as a space where there's opportunity for growth. So we've come together and we've put together this initiative as in the Tobago Youth Football League. And it's if you know the senior men, they play the league for points like the EPL.
Right.
But we never really had any type of league like that for the younger age groups, the under 18, 17, 15, all the way down to under 12s.
Yeah,
so,
do we have the numbers in Tobago to have such a sustainable league in Tobago?
You'll be surprised.
Right.
I think we have about 13 teams and spread across all the different age categories. And we also have facilities for young girls as well.
Right.
And many times these young persons only have opportunity to play in like one-off weekend competitions, a cup here or there. So when we have the league, they have ongoing games. So you'd play against a roster of teams. And when you're a young footballer, this contact time is very important to get you to where you need to be in your developmental stages.
Yeah, and in terms of the Tobago Football Association, I mean, tell us about their, is it a collaborative effort, or do you have to get the blessings of the TFA to have such an initiative here in Tobago?
It's more so along the lines of blessings right now, but we are in collaboration as in how we structure the competition and what are the components of the competition. Because what we're trying to do here is ensure that we have a kind of a train line of young footballers leading into the senior type of football.
Right. So you're going to launch today. Means that you have all the teams registered already, or you can still register?
Well, all the teams are registered at this point in time. So this is just to kick off to let everyone know that the competition is starting, so that we could have persons come to the games and support all the young players. So today is going to be the full launch, but the league isn't the only component that we really have. We have other programs, but right now we're focusing on the league so that from now till, I guess, the end of summer, we could have a lot of games going on with all the young players.
Yeah, so you have, who are some of the teams that would have registered thus far?
I think the infamous team, everyone knows about Ball Blasters.
Right. That's the only master.
Yes. He makes a lot of noise and he has a lot of crowd support. You have the Titans, you have the Eagles, you have teams from the east side. I think there's Lakers youth teams.
Right.
Teams
So it's island-wide?
Yes.
Right. So and when are you going to start the league?
I think the games start this coming weekend.
Oh, so it's launching today and it start this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, so what's the fixtures like?
Well, I mean, I don't have the fixtures in front of me, so I can't say specifically.
No, in terms of like days, is it going to be on weekends only, the times and venues?
There's going to be games throughout the week as well. I think that there's going to be games because right now we're struggling in Tobago with accessibility to certain fields, so we're going to have to space it out in a way that we could get all the games done in time. So we have games usually on the weekend and maybe 1 or 2 during the week.
Oh, so it's going to be, how many categories are you going to have? You mentioned under 18, under 12, so we're going to have all those categories, or for the very first time, we're going to have just one age group?
We're going to have under 10s, under 12s, under 15s, under 17s, and I believe we also considering under 19s.
And then you mentioned that your group has other programs in train. Tell me about some of those other programs.
Oh, well, there's a college ID program that happens in December. We also have a trip coming up to Grenada. We're also planning an exchange program with Academy in the US. So the whole idea about the organization is to provide like step-by-step development of young footballers so that when it is that you decide that you want to play football, you want to have competitions that's in the league, you're going to have weekend competition, you're going to have opportunities to go to college, and we're also looking at finding opportunities to get trials for professional teams. We actually were in conversation recently with a team in Spain, and we have teams in England, and more so teams in the US coming out of the college program and going to the MLS or the USL.
So outside of bragging rights, to win this Tobago Youth League, there are opportunities for persons who probably excel to be, given scholarships abroad.
Yes, well, what we're trying to do, we're trying to align our development strategy in line with the national program in the first instance. So we have a situation where we want to get a lot of our younger players onto the national teams. So we have a kind of high performance program as well that we currently operating, and the idea is to develop some of the best players for that elite level. But we're also not going to disband any of the other players who are not at the elite level. So that's why we have the league with all the teams could be involved to play multiple games and get exposed. National team exposure, college exposure, and to come professional exposure.
And I just saw the team released for the Gold Cup. And not one Tobago player in the mix. I mean, are you at all concerned about Tobagonians not being there? I mean, you're a former national player. You had Sid Gray and all those guys who have played for the Soca Warrior team. And today, we don't have one Tobago player. Are you at all concerned about that?
Very concerned. And I don't think it's for a lack of talent.
Yeah.
We've always been blessed in Tobago with massive talent when it comes to football and other sporting disciplines. And to see that we have not been able to set up a situation where we have enough fertile soil to develop top-level players to make it to the top level locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, as in the national team. And I know that there's work to be done, and I believe that the TYFL could contribute towards that.
Yeah, and who are some of the young players that you would have seen? I mean, you must have an eye for talent in Tobago. You can name some of them. You can call them from Blasters or from Roxbury, because I like to shout out to the youngsters who are there doing their thing, but sometimes you just don't recognize them. Have you seen that talent?
I've seen a few persons. I'm going to be a little bit biased here to one of my old teammates, Mr. Kieran Packer Phillips.
Oh, yeah.
He has a fantastic son that is showing great promise, and I've seen Emo, Emo from Plymouth?
Yeah.
Emo has a son as well. I mean, he is something special. There's a number of players in the older age groups, like in the under 15, under 17, who also, Kylan Braffett.
Kylan,
Yeah, and there's, I think, one of the McCool boys.
Zion McCool.
You see, you know the guys. I mean, these are just from the top of my head, but there are lots more other promising talents that coming up through the younger age groups, and I'm excited for the future, because with the right system in place and the right off-the-field stuff put in place, we could change that statistic of having no Tobagonians on the national team.
Yeah, tell me about your organization. Who are some of the guys behind the scene?
Okay, well, I mean, one of the main persons is Mr. McClatchy, Shaquille Tanti McClatchy. He is from Lambo. He came through the Bertil Sinclair Coaching School, like most of us in Tobago. I think he's out in an academy now in New York. I believe it's New York or New Jersey, but in the US.
Right.
And he's one of the key benefactors that really helps us to get connections to different sponsors abroad, different people we can bring on board to promote these programs, the exchange programs. We also know Mr. Wendell Moore,
right.
The standout guy from football in Tobago, and he helps us get players into the college programs, as well as maybe try from scout. His son is doing really well on the US team and so on. Other persons locally, we have Karen Williams. We also have Miss Reese Nicholson.
Reese, the TikToker. Yeah, you see, we are big on TikTok,
Yeah, we have a number of persons local. We have Anton Edwards, who's on board as well. He has a SAT program that helps us prepare kids for college. So we do a lot of things. We try to spread the net far and wide. So when we come to developing our young footballers, we could offer them expertise locally, internationally, and a broad spectrum of opportunities.
Yeah, and Malcolm, just before we go, right, for persons wanting more information, is there a Facebook page or where they can get the fixtures and all these different things, or look forward to Tobago updates?
We'll do both.
Yeah.
We'll invite you guys to the launch later.
Right.
I'm hoping you guys will be there. There is an Instagram page and Facebook page, so look up for Tobago Youth Football League, TYFL, and you can find all the information there.
But thank you so much for being with us here this morning, and I wish you all the best in doing this for Tobago and Tobago youth footballers. Guys, thank you so much for being with us here this morning on Tobago Updates Television Sports. We're going to be back again next week, Friday, and I have a special guest coming next week, Friday, James Saunders. You know that name? James Saunders from TV6. We're going to have a celebration with him next week. But before we go, we're going to, I'm going to hand you over to Tobago Notes and, of course, GMT right after that. Thank you so much for being with us.
Sewing instructor Tess Mohammed proudly stands with the graduates of the basic garment construction course she facilitated for free in the Mount St. George Goodwood district. The sewing class took place from November of last year to March of this year. Ms. Mohammed is pleased that 15 graduates completed the minimal 100 contact hours and now have a valuable skill.
Now, a typical evening will be fully interactive with the never-ending questions, but at the same time, it was filled with playful banter, a lot of love, and great camaraderie.
This is a lady who used to evaluate people who are skilled, and you know they didn't have a certificate. She was that person that will evaluate you and now make you certifiable. That is the role she plays. So in order for her in retirement to give back to the community, she volunteered her services free of charge to the district of Mount St. George Goodwood. Thank you, Ms. Mohammed.
I was also very, very elated to see the pieces that you all have put together. And it speaks, of course, to the different talents and abilities and skills that we have in our various communities. And as long as we have the right kind of environment for that to thrive and develop, we are going to see these kinds of products.
The cloth is your canvas. You are more than just a seamstress with a needle and a thread. You have an opportunity to be a designer, to create crafty things that can be sold. And it might be clothes, but it might also be household items that people want in their homes. It might be curtains, what have you. But get down to it. See if you can earn an income from this.
There are plans to use this volunteerism model to provide vocational classes in other areas, all in an effort to increase the skills of residents.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds. The THA budget statement for the upcoming fiscal year 2023-2024 would be read on Monday. Chief Secretary Fali Augustin announced the budget date while making a statement in the House yesterday. Debate on the budget is scheduled for next Thursday and Friday. According to the THA Act, the budget must be read and passed in the House before the end of June. Last year, Augustin, who is also the Secretary of Finance, Trade and the Economy, requested $3.97 billion. However, the central government allocated $2.5 billion to the THA, a shortfall of $1.7 billion. Meanwhile, at yesterday's sit-in, the Secretary of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation, Tasha Burris, revealed that some service providers were still owed monies for Carnival held in February 2023. However, she noted that $7.6 million was already paid, and the division is working assiduously to ensure balances are cleared in the shortest possible time. In response, Morris condemned the THA for delaying the payments and suggested that persons' livelihoods are at stake. However, Morris countered, saying the delay was as a result of late central government releases to the THA. And finally, political leader of the Tobago Council of the PNM, Answer Dennis, described audits sanctioned by the THA as suspicious. Speaking at a PNM political meeting in Charlottesville last night, Dennis criticized Chief Secretary Fali Augustin for failing to reveal the contents of the audit. Yesterday in the House, Augustin stated that he will not hand over the financial audits to the Prime Minister or the minority leader. Instead, he stated it would be given to the appropriate authorities for action. And that was the news in 90 seconds, brought to you by Coconut Cafe.
Coconut Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
All right, welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. Yes, viewers, so we are Tobago Updates Television, and just before I get to our conversation today, I want to, of course, inform you of that motorcade that's happening later today as we bring Tobago Updates Television to you, where you can view all the content that we have 24 hours on channel 102 on Amplia. So you're going to want to get connected with that. All right. So getting into our conversations today, we are being joined on set by the Assistant Secretary in the Office of the Chief Secretary, Mrs. Sutika Williams-Orr, who has been the subject of some comments from the Prime Minister, to say the least, a few days ago. So we're going to get to that conversation. But first of all, good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Candice. Good morning to your production team, and good morning to Tobago and all those who are on Tobago Updates Television and other social media platforms.
Certainly. Now, we heard from the Prime Minister on Tuesday night, I believe. So Sunday night, right? I'm getting my days mixed up again. It's been a long week. But,
Sunday or Monday? It was Monday.
Yeah, so you can say we're getting the days mixed up.
Labor Day.
Anyways, the Prime Minister had a lot to say about you, had a lot to say about what was said on our program, on the GMT program last week, when you appeared to speak about the matter of the chief administrator and what went wrong. Now, one of the things he said, first of all, was that that the chief secretary hid behind you. So instead of coming out to the public, he sent you to come and speak on those matters. Can I get your response to that? Did the chief secretary hide behind you?
The chief secretary is the chief secretary Tobago. He does not have to hide behind any member of his team. All right? All appointed secretaries and assistant secretaries have their respective roles. Public administration happens to be a part of my portfolio. All right? Now, Candice, we have a saying in Tobago. Every borough hog got its Saturday. Some people have Mondays, right? So I'm not perturbed, and I am not worried about the aspersions cast by the Prime Minister. Listen, we are accustomed to that. This nation has grown accustomed to toxic language, all right? And if that motivates him, so be it. Let's not cheat him of his delight, but we move on.
No, I just want to just stick there just a little bit more, if you would allow me. So the Prime Minister also said that, you came on to speak about the law and you didn't quite know the law. And even just the way that your name was called up throughout his explanation, in refuting some of the things, or in attempting to refute some of the things that was said, he made it seem as though it might have been a personal attack.
Well, he probably knows best. If it's being personal, he should be asked his reasons, all right? But let me make this quite clear. Candice, I started the public service as a Clerk 1 in 1977. I demitted office. I proceeded on pre-retirement leave in December 2017. And at that time, I left office as the acting director HR, the THA. I worked my way through the ranks. Accounting, administration. Well, those days we said personnel, now we say HR. And I had many very good mentors in the public service. I worked here in Tobago. I had a few years in Trinidad. And one thing I did is to learn that public service very well. I know my regulations. I know when it's pertinent. I know when it's applicable. I was also a part-time lecturer for the UE Open Campus for the Certificate Public Administration. I'm no new kid on the block. When I speak from a place of confidence, wisdom, knowledge, sound mind. So nothing the Prime Minister said on Monday, he had his audience, he had his 90 seconds. Nothing he said there on Monday has changed my position. My staff throughout the public service will tell you, I will always say to them, everything you do or you are about to write is grounded in law somewhere. It's grounded. There is a basis for every action that is taken. So when you are sending a file to me, quote the regulations. Tell me that you know it. You can't work with me and don't know it. So quote it, right? It's the civil service regs, it's the public service regs, it's a memo from the personnel department. You got to know it. So my people are well good. All right? So it has not changed anything. Can you tell me, let's jump into this thing. When I spoke last time, I did not make any hairy-fairy statements. I said to you and I said to your audience, Section XY of the Constitution of this Republic says, Regulation XY of the Public Service Regulation says, right? I do not create my own conversation. I spoke to what exists in law. And nothing he says they can change that. Nothing. Right? The facts remain the same. Now, the Prime Minister spoke on the 12th of June.
Yes.
And we were led to believe that the Public Service Commission was not properly constituted. Therefore, and that was the reason why a chief administrator was not appointed to fill the vacancy at the Tobago House of Assembly. That is Monday the 12th. I asked the question, and he further said that action will be taken later that day to fill the gap. And we saw the appointment of the deputy chair by the president at about 2 p.m. on the very Monday, right? I asked the question, if the Public Service Commission was not fully constituted to allow for a quorum or a meeting of the PSC to deliberate on filling the vacancy that exists at the Tobago House of Assembly, which body wrote to we know is the permanent secretary at CAS to say to that officer, you are to cease to report for duty? Who? Because it's my understanding that that officer was so directed from the 8th of June, Wednesday the 8th of June. That is my information.
So is it that the information got to, let's say, the permanent secretary in the office of the Prime Minister late about that suspension, about the decision that the Public Service Commission took?
Well, remember, he also said that the officer or his ministry, officer of the Prime Minister, got information around the 16th or the 17th of May that this officer was to be appointed to act as chief administrator, THA, with effect from the date on which the vacancy occurs or will have occurred, right? And that when the allegations of misconduct were received at the Service Commissions Department, that very officer who was considered previously for the acting at the THE was advised, listen, right, that this letter has to be withdrawn, or at least the permanent secretary in the office of the Prime Minister was advised that the letter has to be withdrawn. Now, all that took place on the 17th of May, so we hold it. The officer was directed to cease to report for work on the 8th of June. Now, Candace.
And these things, there are evidence for all of these things.
Well, apparently. No, the Service Commission. We have two senior offices here. Permanent Secretary Cast, head of that. Chief Administrator THE, head. Two accounting officers for Ministry, Tobago House of Assembly. The Service Commission will not deal with these matters lightly. Let me put this in the mix. If the officer who held the appointment to act as PS CAS was being considered for an appointment to act as Chief Administrator THE, the Service Commission, we say the Commission will make consequential arrangements, meaning something is affected at the top, we have to make all the arrangements coming all the way down. Because it means that if the PS CAS is being removed, a vacancy will now arise. The Service Commission will not treat with that lightly and leave the post vacant. At the same time, it is my view that the Commission would have made an appointment or recommendation for another officer to now be appointed to act as PS CAS. So all that would have been in the mix, right? Now, if that was done, as I know the Commission, more than 90% of the time, would do, it means that the suspension of an officer would not have affected caste. There would not have been up to today a vacancy as PS CAS. The person who was being considered to replace the now suspended officer in the movement to the THE should have been in place, because that recommendation would have been there, should have been, well, not only recommended, but approved by now, right? So there should have been someone at CAS.
All right, well, we'll kind of stick a pin right here, but we are coming back to this conversation. So viewers, please don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this break.
Rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy fill the skies.
Tapicom. Welcome to the future. The only card you will need in a new world. Digital business cards. Safe, hassle-free. The future is here. Tapicom. New generation digital transfer. Digital time clock cards. Digital attendance cards. Air tags. Customized designs. Digital clothing tags. Digital pet tags. Tapicom. The future is here. Contact us today.
Dear valued members, the TWCU Credit Union Cooperative Society Limited 73rd Annual General Meeting Tobago Update will take place on Sunday, 25th of June 2023, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Grafton Beach Resort, Tobago. All members are invited to attend. Please remember to register. Thank you.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top-class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement, and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Switzerland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Excel Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Well, viewers, we are continuing our conversations with the Assistant Secretary in the Office of the Chief Secretary, and that's Ms. Sitika Williams-Orr. And when we started our conversation, I wanted to play this clip. Well, we finally have it now. So I think we're going to get this clip from the Prime Minister, just a little bit about what the Prime Minister said on Monday night.
I was a people. I never know his blackball the man. Because they had to blackball that man for this one to come in. Farley came to see me. We talked for an hour and a half. And Farley never told me about those developments I just told you there. And then has the temerity, when it blew up in our faces now, to send out Sitika to come and read law for you, to tell you Farley could not know anything about this. It's the Prime Minister who knows everything about it, and therefore the Prime Minister and his office responsible for you not having a chief administrator. Sitika, you're fast, out of place, and untruthful. Because the administration
We are live, folks. All right, so Ms. Sitika Williams-Orr, you heard from the Prime Minister himself. And first of all, he made some very, very serious allegations against you.
Well, the thing about it, he stopped short because he didn't say, and as far as I recall, let me start there. I did not say that the Prime Minister and his office is responsible for any fiasco, for this sordid affairs. No. All I did was clearly laid the pathway of the process that should have taken place. Right? Now, let me talk one truthful. Mr. Rowley should drop out from using that statement. Drop out.
Why do you say that?
We remember Emailgate in this nation. Some of us have memories like an elephant. He stood in our parliament and read ton loads of emails that he said he has in his possession. Not that very week, but for months. What is the outcome of that today? Were any of them proven to be truthful. He stood in a public meeting and he said to the nation, "Evening, Claes, you are closing your fridge door." And he repeated, "Petrotrin will not be closed down." So, accusing someone of being untruthful should not come from the Prime Minister of this nation. Should not. Because he has been a champion in that arena. All right? As for FAS, Assistant Secretary in the Office of the Chief Administrator, responsible for public administration. All right? And Candice, we have to appreciate. You have statements from one side, statements from one side. A vast proportion of our island, of our population, are ignorant of this. Who to believe? Who do I believe? Where can I go to find the truth? And that is all I sought to do. Put things in perspective, right?
Yes.
The Prime Minister cannot say that anything. I spoke to Section 120 and 121 of the Constitution. I spoke to the Public Service Regulation, Section 5 and all that. Let him say that what was said there. But Candace, it continues. Now, if the Public Service Commission was not properly constituted as a result of the absence of an appointed deputy chairman, that person was appointed since June 12th. Today is the 23rd. You got the impression when he spoke that that was all that was needed. A vacancy to be filled and everything will be honky-dory. Because the consultation was had, name was tossed about, right? So you assume that there was a recommendation, something to direct the Service Commission, that both sides have agreed on an officer, and so you have that information. And all that is delaying the appointment or the approval for the appointment is the filling of the vacancy of deputy chairman since June 12th. Today is the 23rd.
And we are still without a
the Tobago House of Assembly is still without a chief administrator. I am hoping that at CAS, because we are linked where the funding from central government to the THA comes through CAS.
I know, and is that the reason why, as Secretary Tasha Burris explained in the House yesterday, that there are some outstanding payments for Carnival and some other things, but she said that they are still awaiting funding. Is this connected?
Well, I can't speak specifically to that, but our last quarter finances, it will be tied up. So I am hoping that there is not a PS cast. I understand up to yesterday. I am hoping that some senior officer at CAS will be appointed as a counting officer. That would allow for those financial matters to take place so the THA will not continue to find itself in this situation.
Now, we heard from the Chief Secretary yesterday where he came out and gave some information. And he pretty much said that, and it's sort of linked to what Dr. Rowley was saying in that clip that we showed just before he took some jabs at you. And it's saying that, you know, the Chief Secretary is saying he was unaware of the situation regarding the suspension of that permanent secretary in CAST. He also said that he is not, the Chief Administrator is not obligated to tell him. However, the Prime Minister believes otherwise and has repeated otherwise.
Candace, we have to draw a line between political office and the administrative side of things. And that is why the Service Commission is in the middle. There's a buffer zone. All right? If an award was made, an auditing firm was contracted to conduct an audit. When that report is being handed in, I would think that the report is handed to the chief administrator, not to the chief secretary, right? Because I don't think the chief secretary would have been personally involved. The involvement would be the chief administrator and whatever level of staff is necessary. It will not be political appointees or political elected officials, right? So the chief administrator can do whatever if after perusing the report it says, listen, wrongdoing, it seems as though wrongdoing occurred here, that breaches were made to regulations and so on. And the chief administrator examines the public service regs, the Exchequer and Auditing Act, and says, yes, it seems as though there is some wrongdoing here. There is some apparent wrongdoing here. Because remember, it's allegations, it's apparent wrongdoing, right? There is an investigative process that will take place. A disciplinary process does not start and end with allegations. There's a host of things that will happen herein, right? And it's taken from there. So like all of us, the chief secretary may have heard it on the news. The chief administrator is the head and is responsible for that.
Yes.
Right? So you cannot blame the chief secretary for saying that he was not aware. And even if he was aware, it's not his business to share, because you see, allegations are made against someone. You're still innocent until proven guilty. So you cannot be saying to this one, to this one, to this one. No.
Yeah. You have to protect them in some sort of way. Now, you know, the chief secretary also, you know, sort of revealed that the name that is discussed was a name that the chief secretary proposed. And this was in light of there not being a consultation yet or a merit list or anything for the replacement, which is what you said when you came here last week. However, the Prime Minister said something different on Monday.
And you recognize the Prime Minister tying up himself, because his utterances on Monday and the flurry of correspondence that the Chief Secretary placed in the public domain yesterday speak to different things, right? Because the Prime Minister alleged that this officer who is now suspended was the person considered and agreed on and so on, right? We all listened to the Chief Secretary yesterday in his letter to the Prime Minister, said something else. And even after the consultation took place, 1 week later, you didn't hear anything. And you contacted the Prime Minister. And he asked you, remind me of the name we agree on again. Now, if it was his recommendation, you can't forget your own recommendation. You won't ask, right? So it is clear that the name of the officer who is now facing suspension was not discussed at all. Was not discussed, right? Was not discussed. And in one piece of the correspondence the Chief Secretary read yesterday, the Prime Minister seems to have said that I tell the Service Commission that already, right? I asked them, I sent it to them. And if it is there, June 12th, today is June 23rd. And the commission, as far as I know, well, they can change their procedures and so on. As far as I know, they meet once per week.
All right, so we got to take a quick break. But when we return, I want to get into a discussion about the implications for the lack of the chief administrator, because I think we've been brushing over that quite a bit, but there are some serious implications. And Ms. Sitka Williams, and I would be discussing that when we return right after this.
And the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power. We are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers. We are melanated one.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
Right now, Tobagonians are just currying down to Bonaccord, right in Stobie Local Road. You know why? To come down and shop at Authentic Builders General Hardware, the only hardware store in Tobago that is giving you guys Trinidad prices. So for instance, such as steel, 1/2 inch and 5/8, $7,895. 5/8 construction ply for $260. Every single thing that you will need to do your home renovation or start your new construction, we have it right here. And to get your quotation, it's very easy. Just WhatsApp us at 272-1990 and we will do your free WhatsApp quotation for you.
Are you looking for a place for your loved ones? Heavenly Care welcomes you. Located at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors, we offer a variety of services. These include doctor visitations, social activities, geriatric care, and much more. Contact us at 277-9595 or visit us at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors. At Heavenly Care, compassion is at the heart of all care.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and
Good morning, Tobago, on Tobago Updates. And viewers, as you see, the rain is pouring down here in Scarborough. And I am guessing throughout the rest of the island. You know, right now, I know that our neighbors in Barbados and some of the other islands are experiencing some adverse weather conditions as a result of the passage of Tropical Storm Brett. So I want to say a special good morning to Mr. Ricardo Roberts out there. Hope you guys are fine out there in Barbados. So anyways, getting back to our conversation this morning. Now, Ms. Sitka Williams, who is the Assistant Secretary in the Office of the Chief Secretary, is discussing, you know, what's happening with the office, with the Chief Administrator. We are still, what is the count now in terms of days? It's a month and perhaps a week?
Yes.
A month and perhaps a
office
week.
has been vacant from the 18th of May.
Yes.
Right,
Now,
so it's a month.
what are those implications? Let's start with, you know, how will this affect the man on the street?
Very important. And the Chief Secretary laid out some of it yesterday. Okay. For example, public officers whose appointment may have ended in May or may have just gotten an approval and there's need for the approval of an appointment. Well, let me say first approval and you need your continuous now. The absence of a chief administrator is delaying for public officers the appointments because now the Service Commission, one of the statutory constitutional duties of the Service Commission is to appoint officers, to approve acting appointments, transfers, confirmation of appointments, enforce standards of conduct, you know, disciplinary action. That has been delegated, or some aspects of that has been delegated to certain senior managers in the public service. The chief admin in Tobago, the PS cast, and the Tobago House of Assembly, the chief administrator and also the directors HR, right? But the directors have authority in some aspects up to range 34. Now you must appreciate that job titles, job position, offices in the public service are in salary ranges, right? So the director HR has up to range 34. Beyond that is the chief administrator. So you could imagine staffing arrangements are just lying in the THA without approval from the 18th of May to today, right? The daily rated, not so much because they do not require an approval every month, every week, and so on. What may happen for the daily rated is some aspects, for example, like leave. If someone has applied for no pay leave and that kind of thing, right? So that may affect them in that. If there are disciplinary matters, that has to now go according to what is laid out in the collective agreement, and it has reached another step, and you are waiting on the chief administrator to adjudicate there. That is on hold. I think some persons who carry firearm, there is something that the absence of the chief administrator is affecting that. All right? Persons on contracts, you may have files going to the chief ad. So those are the things there. All right?
What about in terms of the payments to suppliers and
payments over a certain, the administrator's maximum, I think, is $1 million, right? So that would be affected. In addition, we have this new procurement rules that, you know, the bill has been fully proclaimed, so now the Procurement Act is in place. There are still some hiccups, still some gray areas. Not having a chief administrator is also affecting us in that area, right? Now, let me tell you how it's also affecting public officers. The Service Commission has advertised some positions. For example, I see advertisement for very administrator, THA, clerk of the house, and so on. Now, if any officer from the THA wishes to apply, who sign in the applications? It ain't got no chief administrator.
And the chief secretary cannot do that.
That is a political office. The chief administrator has to sign those applications for officers who sit in the THA. Nobody to sign them.
What about in terms of the budget? Now, we have the budget being read on Monday. How will this affect that reading of the budget statement? Does a chief administrator have any role?
No. No role there at all, right? And I think that will flow fine. Finance is there, the budgets department is up and running. Remember, the budget statement is the chief secretary is the secretary for finance, trade and economy. So that will flow. It will go. It's been read on Monday. Debate will take place on Thursday, and the law requires that it be delivered to Finance, Ministry of Finance, by the 30th of June, right? So that will flow fine, right? But we need a chief administrator.
Now, I want to ask you this. Do you think that the lack of a chief administrator is directly influenced by the Prime Minister or the central government?
Candice, you want to put me in a hot pot. I don't know what is happening behind the scenes. I don't know. All sorts of things happening, back rooms, over drink. I can't say that, right? I trust the independence and that offices, bodies hold true to their statutory obligations, their constitutional obligations, and that is how it goes, right? If there are any shenanigans behind the scenes, well, the only place that's suffering is Tobago.
The Chief Secretary yesterday stated that in terms of the financial audits that are currently being undertaken by the THE, the Executive Council is not aware of the details. Only a few select public servants are aware of the details. What light could you shed on that?
Well, that is what he says. I am not aware. Remember, the secretaries and the Chief Secretary form, they are the Executive Council. And if he says that they are not aware, I think I could safely say for us as Assistant Secretaries, we are not aware either. I am not aware, and I sit in the office of the Chief Secretary, right? And as I said before, that is the Chief Administrator and the staff of public officers, right? That is their thing, right? So, and you know, it is passing strange that there is all this talk about the Prime Minister not knowing, the minority leader doesn't know, and so on. But we must not forget the judgment in a matter of the Prime Minister versus the Integrity Commission, right? In which, and it's there, anybody could go find it on the website of the judiciary. He thought that he was unfairly treated by the commission. He wasn't given an opportunity probably to be heard as he should. Because natural justice dictates that you can't be judge and jury. You must give people an opportunity to be heard. And he went to court and got judgment in his favor. We had a recent issue with the former Commissioner of Police and the very PM wanting to take the report to Parliament. And there was a court matter. Again, I was not given an opportunity to be heard. We have those judgments on our books. So you want to tell me that my Chief Secretary, a bright young man, ain't learning?
So in other words, was he, I don't want to use the word wrong, but and I can't think of the word right now, but was he a little bit too hasty in saying to the public that, you know, he would come to the house at such a time and reveal the contents of the audit?
Well, remember he laid the interim, right? But very careful, the names of any contractor was not called, right? He gave certain other information, right? That wasn't done. But no names were called. So nobody could hightail it to the court to say, well, listen, I am being prejudiced here because you are putting information in the public space. I am not aware. I wasn't asked a question. So you have to avoid those things, right? Judgments have been made in our court. Follow the judgments, right? The judicial decisions are there. Follow them. So I don't expect the Chief Secretary to do otherwise, right? So all who have ants in their pants, let them wait.
All right, and I think that's a great point to take a quick break, and we will continue our conversations as we wrap up this hour, with the Assistant Secretary in the Chief Secretary's office, Ms. Sitika Williams-Orr.
I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong.
Jimmy's Holiday Resorts has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, fully self-contained apartments located at the heart of Crown Point. Minutes walk to the popular beaches, restaurants, bars, and the airport. Enjoy our amazing amenities such as fully equipped apartments, complete with Wi-Fi, AC, TV, and a pool, and a mini-mart on the compound. Call 639-8292 or 8929. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts is your family's home away from home.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Dear valued members, the TWCU Credit Union Cooperative Society Limited 73rd Annual General Meeting Tobago update will take place on Sunday, 25th of June 2023 from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Grafton Beach Resort, Tobago. All members are invited to attend. Please remember to register. Thank you.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Book your passage and come on over.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. On Tobago Updates, we are chatting with the Assistant Secretary in the Office of the Chief Secretary, Councillor Sitika Williams Orr. Now, as you heard yesterday in the House, the Chief Secretary, Fali Augustine, announced that the budget statement will be read on Monday. Now, there's been some silence in the space about the budget coming up. We were thankful that we were able to hear something about it because, we were nearing the end of June and everybody was wondering, when is the budget going to be because it's due by a certain time.
Yes.
So what can you tell us about the preparations for the budget this year?
Well, I can't speak to specifics for any division, but we know that the budgetary cycle, it's triggered by what is referred to as a call circular. It is simply a circular issued by the Ministry of Finance which says, listen, it's time for you to look at your draft estimates, get your business in order and so on. So it is known as the call circular, call to order, call to action, all right? So that will trigger the divisions under the THA and to start to look at their mandate, what you wish to provide for in the next fiscal, what doesn't seem as though it's going to be completed, is it going to be continued, and so on, right? So, of course, you have the fixed, the recurrent, the salaries, the wages, the allowances, and so on. You have those fixed. You have your goods and services, fixed ones, your traveling allowances, materials and supplies, other contracted services, and so on. You have your current transfers and subsidies, things like where you're going to need funding to pay severance benefits to daily rated persons. You have minor equipment. You know what your mandate requires. And of course, that is compiled and that is submitted to the Division of Finance. All right? The budget division, the budget department there will have dialogue with divisions and so on. And then that is compiled into one document, of course, with the statement that is going to be read by the Chief Secretary. So you're going to have the macro for Tobago, then you're going to have the minor for each division. And then, so that is going to be done on Monday. And of course, the minority would respond, right? So I think that is going to be done on Thursday. So we may have a full day and night.
Actually, it's going to be a full week.
Full day and night. Yes, because after the Chief Secretary speaks on Monday, now all secretaries and assistant secretaries now have to huddle, right?
Isn't that, other than that each division submitting their requests, is it that they are not quite aware of all the details or all that will be presented in the House on Monday?
Well, it will be presented, I assume, as such. I don't know what after consultation or dialogue with budget department, if there were any amendments or so. I can't speak to that. Right?
But is there any discussion that happens at the level of the Executive Council in regards, in anticipation of the reading of the budget?
Because we don't sit in when the secretaries and the chief secretary meet, probably not, right? So I don't know. So Thursday, and then the package must be submitted to Ministry of Finance by the 30th. So it's going to be a long day and night on Thursday.
And certainly, and then we are expecting also some protest action outside, because last night at the PNM Tobago Council meeting in Charlottesville, you know, and also after the walkout of the minority leader and the minority council from the sitting yesterday, they are calling for people to wear white in protest against this current administration, complaining that that you guys have not been truthful, you have not been accountable, and you have not been transparent to the public in the way you promised on the campaign trail.
Oh, they didn't learn from the weekend. Clearly they didn't learn. Okay. Right. Now, you know, Candice, wrong is wrong. Right? And I believe in accountability, transparency, adherence to law. But one thing the PNM must never do in this land is accuse anybody of being corrupt, of being unaccountable, of not adhering to transparency. Not the PNM, anybody else. Right? These voices in the Tobago space are probably young members of the PNM, so they don't know. But I ain't talking long. And if anybody learn corruption, they learn it from the PNM. Let me tell them today, they can go way back. Jean Miles, Caroni Racing Complex, Mount Hope Hospital, Lock Joint. Listen, the list is long. PNM and corruption in the same sentence, long time. Right? That does not say that that must be used as an excuse for any other administration to do wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm not agreeing to that at all. But we have sat in Tobago and we have read the Auditor General's reports on the conduct of the THA, the financial conduct of the THA, from, let me say, 2002 to the last one that was done. What opinion? Can't even give an opinion. Millions unaccounted for. Procedures not adhered to, and so on. Right? I am sure mention was made, I think in the House, Secretary, my colleague, Secretary James, made reference recently to an excerpt from the management letter from the Auditor General this year. The Auditor General wrote to the Chief Administrator and basically said, listen, we visited Department of Infrastructure, Quarries, and Urban Development. We looked at vouchers and we looked at the road resurfacing program. And the team visited, and reference was made to 2 roads in Moriah, Adventist Trace and Rabbit Lane. And the management letter said, listen, you paid for asphalt. When the team visited, there was a concrete surface.
So that allegation came from a notice in the Auditor General report for work done before.
The management letter of the Auditor General, I think it was issued in March of this year, but it was sometime this year.
Yes.
Right? The Auditor General spoke to that. It's not the forensic audit. The Auditor General in a management letter to the Chief Administrator spoke to that. I think one payment was 5-point-something million for phase 1 at Adventist Trace. I can't remember the figure for Rabbit Lane in Moriah. But it's the Auditor General. It's not the Chief Secretary. It's not Secretary James. It's not the forensic auditors. The Auditor General, a creature of the Constitution of this Republic. The management letter said that. Right?
So in other words, you stand by the administration for being accountable and transparent.
Of course.
All right.
Right? Of course.
All right. Well, I mean, we are now at the end of our conversation this morning. Mr. I'm going to give you just a couple seconds, just your final closing comments.
Listen, I will continue, Candice, to speak of what I know. I will continue to speak from a place of knowledge, a place of wisdom. I don't tread into areas that I am ignorant about. And no, there's no adjective, no negative that could be attached to me. My mother gave me a name, a special name, and that is what I adhere to. So the attempts to sully this child ain't gonna work. Will not work, it didn't work then, it ain't gonna work now. And let me tell you, the Prime Minister talking about the PNM dealt with me in Plymouth twice. Yes. But he must also remember that he contested the election in Tobago and lost and never attempted again. I still live at Plymouth.
All right. Well, thank you. That's okay. We're going to leave it right here for now, Mr. Williams. Always good to have you on, and always good to have you address a lot of the concerns that are within this space. But before we go, viewers, if you want to see us on the road, look out for us from Scarborough to Roxborough this afternoon, as we are taking Tobago Updates television to the east, to East Tobago. So if you want to see us on the road, see how you can get onto Amplia and view us on channel 102, you're going to want to get connected. So because the Amplia team would also be along with us as we're going through the communities. So look out for that this afternoon, and have a wonderful, safe and productive weekend, and we will see you again on Monday.
We are beauty, we are power, we are people.